All right. Hi. I want to introduce everyone to this new project that I am starting up. I want to separate out this tab. Hold on. It's just easier to work with individual tabs. So I want to introduce everyone to this new project in progress. I was thinking about, this month it's November and it's a time when a lot of people, kind of sit down and try to write their book, 50,000 words in 30 days, which adds up to something like, was it like 1,667-ish words per day? Um, which is both like as a working writer, actually, that's not a particularly large amount. Um, but also I know that it can feel like a lot. It can really kind of overwhelm you. And one of the things I found is that when you push yourself, because I've done these challenges, when you push yourself to write that amount in a day and you kind of hold yourself to that, you can usually hit it, but sometimes you kind of write for word count more than you write for like the experience of writing or the joy of writing. And that's not to like denigrate people who do that challenge. Um, but I kind of find that, at least for me as a creator, some of the joy is lost in that. So what I'm going to be doing over not the next 30 days, but the next 100 days, is I'm going to be writing 500 words a day. Um, as mentioned, I'm a working writer, so I have a lot of other projects that I do, a lot of other, things that I juggle and keep going. Um, but setting aside a little time each day to do 500 words, which is a small amount, uh, I think is very doable. And I would love to take you on that journey with me. That's kind of where I'm getting at. I want to take you on the journey, not just of, I did my 500 words today, but like, let's sit down and do this. Let's go through the process of writing a book a little bit at a time. Um, and I guess I'll just kind of jump into it. I've done a little brainstorming already, but I didn't want to do too much because I find that like, the process of doing it on the page is kind of fun. Um, and I guess what I'll start with is like, when you may have seen me write short stories, but with a book, I'm a bit of a pantser. I really like to dive in. And when I dive into a book, I really like to start. People talk about the importance of how you start. I like to start with a powerful image. I find that starting with images and then shifting to ideas is really interesting, or kind of like a cocktail of images and ideas. So, like the opening sentence. Actually, ooh, let me also quickly, we got to turn on our word count. Oh, I also noticed I can do e-signatures. I think I'm gonna add some e-signatures to my book at some point just to make use of the feature. All right, so let's hit this. I think there's something about eyes in the mirror, right? So what is this? What is this doing? We kind of have this image already of eyes in we it's kind of vague. Whose eyes? What mirror? What's the situation? Where are we? But I think eyes are a very powerful human image. They're a thing that we quickly connect to. Um, they imply the existence of people, they carry emotion. I think it's a very strong way to generally start. Now, what I'm going to do in this opening is I'm going to use a technique that, I've been doing a lot more and more over the past few years. I think it's something that I've evolved into as being kind of my signature as a writer, which is kind of this mixed voice or mixed like space. So what I'm going to be doing for the next few lines, right? Like there's the plain text, there's this stuff up here, and that's going to be a little bit more, at least for the moment, a little more reflective. That's going to be the one that's talking about, I have something to say about eyes in the mirror. And then the italics is going to be a little more grounded, a little more like visceral in the scene, right? Like, this is the image and like this is the idea, and the two are going to do a little dance, right? So let's keep going. I like my back and forth more. There's something about eyes in the mirror, green eyes in the mirror, and I think they need to be green because green eyes are exciting, right? um Not your own eyes. That's not what I mean. Okay. I want to do a little more back and forth before I settle because like I want to do 1 2 1 2 and then I'm going to settle into like a more full paragraph, right? Where we start to like kind of branch out. So I want to do a little more with these green eyes. Um so her eyes meet mine for only a moment and then they drop again to her phone. Okay, so let's get like a little more context, right? Like so she's looking at her phone. I kind of like the idea that her eyes drop, like, she looks, her eyes move downwards. But I think like the light of her phone screen continues, you know? So finally, okay, so until finally I what? So the scene that I'm envisioning kind of has him. Like so I imagine a male narrator. And I imagine he's in the driver's seat of a car, like a taxi or like an Uber kind of situation. He's driving this person somewhere. Um, and I kind of, let's see. Oh, and I bet here's what it is. I glance, so we can get a little consonants. I glance down to my own phone. Her name in the app, the booking. Let's get a name. What's a name for this woman? Uh, I like the name Anya, kind of like a Russian thing, Anya. Right. So we can cut back out of it, right? Catch your own eyes in the mirror. Maybe you have that whole navel. Yeah, navel. No, it'd be navel because yeah, easy bullshit thing of what if the person in the reflection is the real me. I'm doing some like personality establishing stuff right now, right? And actually, I'm there. Oops, there. I always make the mistake. Reflection. And then get to feel deep about yourself for a minute. Good for you. But I mean, when you catch someone else's eyes in the mirror, that's a different sort of thing. All right, so that's kind of enough of a chunk to like. So let's cut back into the scene again. We're easy. We're kind of going back and forth, getting a little rhythm going. Hmm? So I'm giving her like a a ride for Anya. I say a little louder. Too. And I want to give like I for some reason, not a technical reason, more of like an instinctive reason. I want to give a beat here where he kind of like a ride for Anya, I say a little louder, you're going to, and then he pauses. And I think he like I think he like so he like reads the phone like he I don't want him to squint at it because it's not as though his eyesight is bad. I think you know what it is. I bet he like tries to pronounce it and he has a really hard time. Oh boy. So yeah, we're gonna just keep like coming in and out of his voice a little bit. All right, so we need some crazy syllables. Ka ku ne chi. I'm really like there's a thing about me where like I always need a space after ellipses. I don't know if that's a technical thing. I just have to do it. Mm, Boulevard? Boulevard should be capital. So it's like Kapu, like I've just invented some sort of crazy. I don't know what the hell this is. Boulevard. I expect her to snort in the way to snort. I want to give him a maybe. The way people sometimes do after other people struggle to pronounce things like that. One of those, oh, it's okay. I know it's a hard one. Or, oh, I've heard it done much worse. Sorts of snorts. One of those snort sorts. I don't know. That's a little Seussian. Like, let me read that to myself. I expect her to snort maybe in the way people sometimes do after other people struggle to pronounce things like that. One of those, oh, it's okay. I know it's a hard one. Or, oh, I've heard it done much worse sorts of snorts. One of those snort sorts. Oh, I don't know. He's got a little, I like him. I'm going with it. I'm going with it. He doesn't snort. Um, what she does is she looks up from her phone, and there are those green eyes again for a moment, and then she looks back down again, and she says something strange, which is sure. See, I like so already like we're getting, I don't know, I find that kind of fun because it's like sure is not the same as yes. So already like what is going on here? Like I'm actually not sure what's going on here. Like she's gotten into this car like I want to like play with it because I don't actually know. I mean like as a writer I have sort of an idea in my head like a bitty baby idea, but as a writer I actually don't know if she's Anya. I don't know if she knows where she's going. Like this is there's a lot of like cross for the reader. I guess we'll see, right? So let's keep going. When you catch someone else's eyes in the mirror, a rear view mirror like mine, or a full length mirror like in a fancy hotel hallway, or hell, just a reflection in a window. You know what that is? What that is, and I want to find the way to phrase this because I was having this idea earlier today and I wasn't sure how to say it. I just like know what it feels like. I want to kind of capture the idea that like when you catch someone else's eyes in the mirror, it's like you're existing together in a little secret world that's not the same. Like it's different, right? So it's like world just for you. Okay, and I'm gonna do another voice dip. I'll tell you. So like I'll pause for a second to explain what I'm doing. I keep doing these little things. Like so that's when I say like a voice dip. Notice like what I've just done is I'll tell you. Like that sentence informationally does nothing, right? It contains no information about anything. It what it actually does is it characterizes our speaker a little bit. And most writers, when they do things like that, they're trying to be voicey. They're trying to characterize the speaker. They're trying to be like, oh, it's casual, it's tone, that kind of book. Um, which is fine, by the way. And you see it in all sorts of writing where people, they do the rhetorical, or like, they have little voice flexes or voice dips. But when I'm doing it here specifically, I'm actually doing it's a form of cheating. I'm doing that so I can get away with some kind of weird writing. I'm using it's a band-aid for like some messy shit that I'm about to do, right? But because it's a messy voice dip, you're like, oh, the messy shit that's about to happen is like cool shit instead of dumb boy doesn't know how to write shit. That's kind of the vibe, right? So, anyways, I'll tell you. When you catch someone else's eyes in real life, like across the room at a party, you get a little secret moment, sure, but you're still in that room in a real place together, and you can only do real things or not do them. But in a mirror, like if there is a fancy serving tray at the party, it's one of those, oops, I capitalized something. Fancy kind of function parties, not so much the umping thumping basement under den you were maybe imagining. Suddenly you aren't in the room, or at least not in this room. No, the two of you are in that room, looking at each other. The room on the other side of the mirror, right? So let's take a second. Let's take a second. Let me catch up to myself because I've done one of those things that like my editors hate when I do this, where I use like 50 M dashes in a row for stream of consciousness, but I think I can kind of get away with it. Let's read this. Let's see. When you catch someone else's eyes in the mirror, a rear view mirror like mine, or a full-length mirror like in a fancy hotel hallway, or hell, just a reflection, which be hell, comma, just a reflection in a window. You know what that is? What that is a little secret world just for you. I'll tell you. When you catch someone else's eyes in real life, like across the room at a party, you get a little secret moment. Sure, but you're still in that room in a real place together, and you can only do real things or not do them. But in a mirror, like if there's fancy serving tray at the party, fancy silver serving tray at the party that someone's carrying by. It's one of those fancy kind of function parties, not so much the umping thumping basement or den you were maybe imagining. Suddenly you aren't in the room, or at least not in this room. And this is an italics moment. No, the two of you are in that room looking at each other. The room on the other side of the mirror, right? And you can do anything you want over there. Whatever you do in that room over there, it's not coming back to this room over here. So why not? Okay, so let's pause for a moment. Um, it's time to cut again, back into the scene itself. So there's a few ways we can go about this. Oh, sorry, I should correct. I hate when this happens. He's carrying, but kind of someone is carrying. No, I'm gonna keep the. All right. Sorry. Um, so the last thing she did, she said, sure. Now that's interesting, right? And I want our main character, I want our narrator to react to that, right? But I also want to keep kind of like, so what I want him to do. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna just execute. I'm gonna just execute. Why not? So I've noticed what I've done. I've doubled, I've doubled the plain text why not um into the italicized why not. So we got a nice transition, but also like almost like he's gonna do something now. We now get the sense that our character's about to take an action. Anya, I say. She doesn't look up. Okay, now I still, as the writer, to be honest, I'm still not sure if her name is Anya. I think the reader at this moment is probably assuming that it is, because there's a lot of other reasons she might not look up. But if later I decide to have her name not be Anya and something else is going, I don't know, I've laid the groundwork, right? I'm going to need more than a sure, right? So I want to lean into the idea that sure is an odd thing to like say to someone who's like just gotten into your Uber, right? You want to get like because again, you want to get the sense that they know where you're going. She looks up. See, so what we've done, I want to point out like a prose thing. So this is like a long paragraph with some long sentences in it. And after I have something like that, it's really nice for a little while to keep things a little more terse, right? Right? Those green eyes. So, okay, here's a moment. What do I want to do with this? There's a few things that I want to accomplish in the next few sentences. I want to, number one, give us a little more than just her eyes. We've gone about the fact that her eyes are green, like we get it. I think we need a little more. I want to like, so I want to get a little more physical description, but not just like here's what she looks like. Like I want to get like a here's what she feels like, right? I want to give her like a little blocking. I want to give her something to do. And I also want to start moving towards merging my two voices, the italics and the non-italics, right? So let's see what we can do about that. There's green eyes. Full head. Okay, not just a green eye. So I'm gonna do a complicated bit of blocking. Let's see. So I'm going to shift back into the plain text voice, like, and I'm going to use the plain text voice to exposit the italicized voice. How did I say it? Have you ever caught someone's eyes in the mirror? Trouble. I don't know, I like that. That's kind of fun. Um, we're over 500 words already. I'm gonna go a tiny bit further just to like kind of round out what we have. Um, I think I need two sentences in this section, right? So it's like perfect eyes for that room over there. Much too dangerous just for this one. Oh, he's that's so much fun. That's so much fun. Um, I think I'm actually going to cut the green from here. I think that's it's almost becoming redundant. So I'm imagining I want to finish like this sequence. So I'm imagining she's like looking down and her hair is like hanging down, and as she looks up, it falls kind of across her face a little bit. Thanks. And I want to do something with that. Like I know. Her hair strokes across her left cheek like it's trying to short an argument. All right, let's give her hair a color. Like it's blonde, but like I don't want to just call it blonde because like we can do better. Let's do something interesting. Like again, I want to avoid people don't like food metaphors are generally bad. Let's like oh, what's like a great way like oh, I know. Sun off the pool. Sun off the pool. Does that make it sound like she has wet hair? No, her sun off the pool hair strokes across her left cheek. No, 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 no. Actually, do I need to like I feel like that's it's gonna become overloaded. That's the thing. It's gonna become overloaded. I want to like because the sentence is already doing a lot. Argument. She brushes it aside, of course, a little tersely. It never works. Works. I imagine that she's about to speak, and I imagine, and I imagine, and she just stares at me, waiting. So finally, that she's going to be one of those water from the stone people. Let's get that. All right, do I want to stop there? I mean, it's 578. I don't want to go too much. I want to be kind of disciplined and like actually limit myself to 500. I don't want to do more than 600. I don't want to do more than 600. Uh, but I want a bit of a snappier ending than this, right? Like, so I'm going to give him a little more. I want to give him a line. I want to give him a line. Am I taking you to, and I have to look back at what I called this place, Kapunichikan Boulevard. Is that how I spelled boulevard before? No, it's not. Without the, is there an E? Maybe going fine, whatever. Someone else, someone, somewhere. Take why? Her voice, I'm realizing, is the same color as her hair. Color as my mood. Few hours. So I'm just rolling. I'm just rolling. I just lost track of. There we go. Maybe I've just discovered. All right, and here's where here's where I'm gonna wrap it up. So, catching their eye. Well, he's on my spunk. All right, seven. I think I'll stop here. I think I'll stop here. I have some ideas about where to go, but like this is kind of a good, like, kind of fun start to it. It's I don't know if it's a romance or a thriller, or like somewhere in the middle. It's just kind of dumb fun. Um, but I hope you enjoyed having a, like a first writing day with me, and I'll pick it up tomorrow.